What is going on, everybody? Car Guy V8 here. And this weekend, my longtime friend Rhett is in town. Y'all have seen him on the channel before, back when we painted some stuff in the past. But he's in town, so I figure that's the perfect time to get this 79 Cutlass running. It won't be driving yet, of course, because I lack a new master cylinder and the brake booster. And also, I lack a driver's seat for it. So I don't really want to drive it on a bucket with no brakes, if you get me. But the biggest piece of the puzzle that I've been waiting on is this drive shaft right here, which I just got today. I already had the yoke. This is for a Turbo 400, of course. Turbo 400 swap in a G-body. And I think it's about 51 and 1/16 inch, the length of this drive shaft, if I remember correctly. It's been a little while since I measured, dropped it all off at the drive shaft shop. But hopefully that sucker will slide right up in there and be the perfect length. And tomorrow when he is here helping, we're going to throw some headers on this car. I've got a couple different sets. I'm not sure which one I'm going to use yet. I know I have a 1.5 inch primary header that'll absolutely work with this, but I'd kind of like to go with a bigger header. I've got I think it's a 1 3/4, either that, it may be 1 5/8, I'm not sure, but it's a 2nd gen Camaro header, so there's a chance it'll fit and there's a chance it won't. Some 2nd gen Camaro headers will work with G bodies, and I'm not sure if this is one of them. But tomorrow we'll get on that. It's going to be real easy to get this thing running. I don't anticipate there being any issues. It's just some mild wiring, throwing the headers on, putting some plug wires in. It won't be running like long since I don't have the radiator yet, but we'll get to hear it at least. So let's go ahead and throw in this drive shaft, and then we'll get it running tomorrow. I've got the drive shaft up in there. I actually wound up not having the right straps. So right now it's just being held up by a jack stand. And the end gap there is right at 1 inch, maybe ever so slightly more. Look at that, pretty close. Pretty close. It's all the way up into the transmission. So I think that should be good right there. So I'll probably run to the parts store before Rhett gets here. I went to the parts store and picked up my straps. So I went ahead and threw the drive shaft on. Those are 3 RU joints going to 1350s for this drive shaft. And it actually it was a little bit of a chore cleaning those threads out because they were incredibly filthy and had a bunch of crud up in there. But here's my new Turbo 400 oil pan. This is one of the Jegs deep pans. It holds an additional 1.5 quart. But all right, let's move to the top of this build. This is the battery off of my El Camino. We're just going to see what works and what doesn't. My fire extinguisher is right over there. Do you mind to grab it? You see it on the floor right there? I want to keep it handy because I know it's been at least 12 years since this car has had power on it. So I'm going to connect it real quick and listen and see if you hear anything or any sparks or anything like that. Wow, that wire is actually, I got the longest one O'Reilly's had. That's actually barely, wow, that's tight. I'm going to have to get a longer positive. Look at that, it's stretched all the way. Okay, nothing sparked or nothing. I'm going to tighten it down a little bit. All I'm doing tonight is basically, since everything's wired, at least how it was from the factory, I'll probably just turn the key on. We'll see if lights work, brakes, stuff like that. And I'm going to crank the engine with the spark plugs out just to build oil pressure. This engine has run within the last 4 or 5 months. It has. All right. That's a good sign. Okay. It's an 80,000 mile car, so this might be annoying. I've only got one hand, and he's over there He's over there manning the battery. So just in case, you know, first time this thing's had power in a while. Let's see. Okay, I heard something. Let's see. Light. Oh, 2 headlights. Let's go back here. Like I said, this was a pretty low mileage car. We got 2 taillights. Oh, I touched that one and it went out. Let's see, anything else we can try in here? Let's see. I hear something. This isn't working for now. Yes. Or yeah, it is. Let's see. I don't really know. Believe it or not, I'm too young to know how to work these old radios. So, I know. It probably looks stupid, me just pushing buttons here. I don't even know how you turn that on. I guess that's how young I am. I'm showing my age. Let's see, blinkers. Left, nothing. Right. So we got nothing on the blinkers. Okay, I'm going to just see if you want to go up near the battery. Let's see, I'm just going to hit that starter. Perfect. It's got no spark plugs in it, so that's why it sounds funny. Here, watch that. If you want to hold this camera, watch that oil pressure gauge. Let's make sure we got some. I'll probably take a minute of cranking because it's a fresh oil change. You know, no real load on the bearings without spark plugs in it. Well, looks like I found the culprit of the no blinkers. Looks like we're missing a flasher. Willing to bet Clay stole it off this sucker, the parts car. Thanks, Clay. Okay, so basically what we got, this was the factory 12-volt power wire that went to the distributor. It's real rough. I promise you I am actually going to redo this wiring, but this is, I just want to see what all works, you know, get it plugged in. So basically, we've got it on 12 volts right now, or 20 volts DCV. So right now I've got it on a ground. Let's see right there. All right, hit that key just to the on position. Come on. Yep, there we go. Turn it off. Turn it on. Perfect. So we know when I turn the key tomorrow that she'll fire. So one of the things I like more about shorty headers, even though they don't flow quite as well, is you can do pretty much everything from the top end. Probably one of my least favorite things to do is put headers on from underneath, long tube headers. You got to have the car so high up in the air, and you got to be crawling under, you know, and twisting the header every which way, especially on tight engine bays like G-bodies, and even my second gen Camaro, it was pretty tight. The trucks, they don't seem quite as bad to me, but they're already higher off the ground to begin with. But yeah, that's the one nice thing about shorties. You can just throw them in there. So, see, this is what I meant. It's real hard to take, since this is a one-piece rear main block, and that would not come in these cars. So they have a driver's side dipstick from the factory. So since this is a one-piece rear main block, this slides up here and it hits the heater box down there. So it's real tough to get out without majorly bending it or cutting the end just slightly. So that's another area that these shorties come in handy. You can just slide over long tubes. I think you'd pretty much have to remove this for long tubes. Okay, so pretty much all we got left to do is bolt up the carburetor and put the spark plug wires on. All this stuff, I'm just going to move it out of the way. So if you will, this one goes to cylinder 1, right there on the front. 1, 8. Ah, I put my arm there again. I always do that. Bunch of fiberglass. So we got all the plug wires on, we got the carburetor tightened up, and all of the vacuum lines should be plugged in this engine. It does not have a mechanical fuel pump, so it'll be electric, and the tank is real dirty. So today we're just going to be trying to fill up the bowls. Well, one bowl. This is not a mechanical secondary carburetor, so it just idles from the front bowl. I don't want to fill it too full where it starts overflowing the bowl. I just rebuilt this carburetor, so I probably ought to make sure there's not any crazy leak or anything. That'll be enough to run it for a little while at least. Just knocked over my fire extinguisher, just in case. I don't see any fuel leaks at the moment. I'm gonna put this back right there. We got no water in it right now. All right, let's see if if the accelerator pump works. Beautiful, almost like I rebuilt it myself. And then the one squirt of brake clean. I always do that. Makes for an easy first fire up, just a little. I got my fire extinguisher. All right, Rhett, hit that key. Stop. I tested, there was voltage here. I put it in the battery side, so it should be good. Try it. Come on, baby. Sounds spicy. I'm not going to let her run too long. No water in there, but that's enough to know at least this old wiring works. Let me disconnect this death trap of a battery. Like I said, got to get a longer cable. That's why I had this wood right there holding it up. Beautiful, guys. I figured since we just started up the Cutlass for the first time, might as well take a different G-body for a ride real quick. The old 383 El Camino. Well, I think that about wraps up this video on the Cutlass. Rhett, I appreciate you coming down and helping out on it. He's heading back to his house. I've got a lot more planned on this car, so stay tuned. It's always nice hearing an engine start up in your project car, especially after working on it for several months. Y'all haven't seen this yet, but I got the brand new rotors and calipers in there, front brake lines. I've just got to do the rears and finish this stuff up here. I'm getting my 2 floor pans over here cut down to size this weekend. So it's going to have floors soon. It's going to have brakes. And I'm excited to continue on this project. And, it's got its lowering springs in there. Of course, it's not lowered right now because it's partially on jack stands, partially sitting on these blocks. But its ride height looks good. I'll have to show y'all that sometime. So stay tuned. Thank y'all for watching.